like a deer, still a stone on the road as headlights approach.
Hello students, it's your favorite instructor again, and we have an exciting lab this week. This is lab number 5, and in this lab we are going to make our first actual map. So this would be a map that you could either print or you could export out as a PDF and share with your friends. Print it out, put it on your fridge, show your mom, impress all of your family, tell them this is what you went to school for, all that jazz. And so let's get to it. So first I've got my ArcGIS Pro program open here, and I need to add some data. So today we're going to keep it pretty simple. I'm going to add the FS ownership, right click, add to a new map. Okay. And I'm also going to add, let's go with the project boundary, add to current map, and let's go with my roads as well. Now let's go ahead and zoom into our project boundary. So right click on project boundary, zoom to layer. Okay, so now I've got my project boundary zoomed into the frame here. I'm going to, let's only show level 2s and 3s for our roads. So we double click on our roads, definition query, new definition query, new expression, where, and we remember that it was our operate field, where operate is equal to 2. And we can also then add another clause. We want this to say or, because either one can be true, or operate is equal to 3. We click apply, click OK. So that just makes it a little less cluttered for what we're doing here. And we can then also, let's change our Forest Service ownership. Let's make it just a light green. Okay. And let's make the project boundary more of a pink color. Anything that's blue is going to be assumed to be water, so we don't necessarily want to do it that way. So we can make our project boundary like a very light pink. That might be too. No, that's okay. Okay, now we're going to also symbolize our roads. So let's right click on our roads, go to symbology. We have to make sure we click on single symbol. It's not what we want. We want unique values. And we're going to base it on the operational maintenance level field. So operate. And you'll see we have 2s and 3s. And this is where it gets pretty cool because we're going to add a legend to our map. And this is where we can actually change that symbol that's going to show up in our legend. And so for a road, something like This might be a good symbol for a road. And we can then also change the all other values. That's okay. Let's see if we can just remove these. So we only have our 2s and 3s. And then we can also, let's change the color. Let's make our 2s like a gray. Line width of 1 is fine. We can apply that. And then let's go and change our 3s. Let's make them a line width of 2 and make them darker. Yeah, make them black. Okay. So now we can sit here and look at the map. We can tell that's a 3 and these are 2s coming off of it. So it looks nice. So we would also label. We can go ahead and do that too. We'll label our roads. So we go back, make sure that it's highlighted, go to the labeling tab, and let's use we can use the name field, that's fine. And let's look over here. Label placement, let's give it a let's click the little arrow there. Let's look and see what we have here for placement. Let's use this one here. Okay, and so then if we click label, we now have our roads labeled. So remember, if I wanted to be able to edit these individually, I'd have to turn them into annotation. We learned that last week. Okay, so I feel like we have something set up here that we can actually make a map from. So I'm going to close out of this. I'm going to create 2 maps here. So I've got one map up here. And then I can go to Insert, and we're going to insert a new map. And the second map, we're going to add to that, so now you see they're both up here, so we can move between the two. Okay. In the second map, I'm going to add in just my ownership. Okay. And we can leave the background map on there. Now let's uncheck it real quick and let's see if we can find a better background map here for it. Let's see. So if we go to map and base map, you'll have to be signed into your ArcGIS Online account to do this. So this isn't showing up. You go up to File or Project and then sign in and use your ArcGIS Online account password. I like this gray one a lot. I just think it's not very distracting. It just shows what you need to see. So you can pick whichever one you want, but we want to just be able to see the Forest Service ownership. Okay. All right, so we have two maps now. We have this first one and our second one, okay, which is zoomed out more. And so to create a map, a paper map, we have to go to Insert. And this is where we would insert not a new map, but a new layout. So we click Layout. We're fine. This is where you choose what size you want it to be. We're fine with an 8.5 by 11. Okay. Looks pretty good, huh? Pretty amazing. Okay, it's blank. We have to add our maps to it. And we're going to put two maps on this. So to do that, we go to, we make sure that we are on our, see now we have a new tab here, Layout. We'll make sure we're on the Layout tab. And then here where it says New Frame, we can actually choose what we want it to look like. Rectangle, polygon, lasso, circle, ellipse. We're going to choose rectangle for our first map. And so I'm thinking about putting the top map here and then use an inset map here to show where it is and then put all my information over here. You can set this up however you think it looks best. This is what makes GIS a lot of fun, is using some creativity here. Okay, so in order to add the map, I go to Insert and then New Frame, and I choose which of the maps I want to add. So this would be a blank one here. So I've got to choose this one. And I'm thinking about, you can also see here you can choose different shapes, but it's going to be a rectangle. I think I'll put my main map up here, doing an inset map over here that shows where this is on the forest, and then also doing all my information over here. Okay, so to do that I have to draw a rectangle, and you can set this up however you want, however you think it looks good, but I think that's going to look pretty decent. So I'm going to draw there. You'll see it adds that map to it. And now the thing that I think is a little bit hard to wrap your head around, and I'm still getting used to this because I'm used to the old program, which you made maps quite a bit different in the old program, is in order to change. So if you see if I go to the in order to do any zooming, like if I zoom in and out or if I pan, I'm in the insert button. One second here. Get back to my if I get back to the navigation button here, you'll see that this just moves the paper map, right? I get closer and farther away from it, move it around. If I wanted to zoom the material on the map or change anything about how the content on the map looks, I have to activate it. And to activate it, I can right click on it and go activate. You'll see it grays everything else out around it. And now if I pan, you'll see it moves the things on the map around. And then to deactivate it, you'll see where I can either click Layout here, or I can click the X here, and now I'm back into Layout view. Okay, that takes me a little getting used to. And then if I had a second map, I can activate the second map on here. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's just insert our second map. So we go back to Insert, and I have to be in Layout view. So if you still have your map activated, you have to hit the little X there to do this. And then I go back to a map, and I probably wouldn't normally do this because of the shape of the feature, but we can make this one a circle just for fun. Let's make it an ellipse actually. So I'll make it an ellipse. Oops. And then I go to Insert Map Frame. Let's choose my second map here. And then down here I'm going to insert, I'm going to make it fairly large here, the second map right there. And then this is pretty cool. Once I inserted that second map, because it knows that these are looking at the same thing, that this is on this, I can do what's called an insert extent indicator. So what that shows is you can see here that this little box here is the extent of this map here. So if I were to move this map, what it's looking at, it would then also move the box here on this map. So that's pretty cool. I could also add this project boundary to the other map, and it would show up there as well. And so that's a cool way of doing it too. But I've got my two maps here, and now I have to start adding what we call the necessary map elements, and there's 7 of these. This sounds like something maybe will show up on a test at some point. The first map element is to add a title. And so to do that, we are under the Insert tab here. And we simply go over here to where it says rectangle. And yours might have these all set up just in a menu where you can see this symbol. The software has changed a little bit back and forth. So you can do the one that has the rectangle behind it or just the regular text one. For a title, I think the rectangle looks pretty good. So we'll click that. And we'll go here. And then we can simply type in this rectangle. Let's call it, because we're so proud of our map here, let's call it my first map. Now to change this and to alter this, we have to click it. And then that up here brings up this text context menu. This always throws me off in this software, that when you click on something, it'll show up here. I can then click format. And this is where I can change the text that's in here. And so to do that, I can change it from 12 point to 28. And I can underline it, I can bold it, I can change the spacing, how it aligns. So once you've got your text where you want it and what it looks like, I'm going to leave it there. And so the first element we add is a title. The next element we need is what's called a north arrow. I'm sure you've all seen this on a map. So to do that, we simply go to Insert. We can choose north arrow. Hit the little drop down here. You can pick whichever north arrow you want. There's actually all kinds that you can even get besides these ones. I'm going to pick one that's pretty simple. You can pick whichever one you want. And once you pick it, I'll go with this one. You simply draw a box where you want it. I'm going to put it right here below the corner of my map. Draw a little box. There it is. And then when you click it, you can see up here the north arrow context menu has shown up. And so you can change the format and design of it. And you can change the type, you can change the angle, you can tell whether it's going to true north or magnetic north. You can change the format, these options here. Okay, different symbols. So pick a north arrow that you like. And then the next one is a scale bar. So you have to have a scale bar or scale text. Scale text would say something like 1 inch on the map equals 1 mile in the real world. Usually we use scale bars. So I'm going to grab a scale bar. And since I'm going to put mine beneath my map here, I want one that kind of looks like a comb going down. This one here is good. You can pick whichever one, you can place it wherever you want, but I think it looks good to go down like this. And then here's where you can change, again, you go back up here, you can change the format. You can change the design of it. The font's fine. Width, the fill, the line. You can change the width here. Let me see here. I'm trying to find the. You can also change the number of subdivisions and things like that. So you can right click on it. Go to properties. And then here's where you can change it. Which map frame it's using. I want mine in miles actually, so I can change it from kilometers. Map units, label text, miles, after labels, offset, symbol, divisions. This is where division value, resize, behavior, just division values. The number of divisions is 2 and 4, so if I drop this one down to maybe 2. I just want the breakup to make sense. So there, that I've got 2 now here instead of 4. And then if I change it, 62 miles, this is a mistake a lot of people make. 62 miles is not useful. It doesn't tell us anything. Like we want it to be 50 miles, 100 miles. So just stretch it out until you hit a number that makes sense, which I think I'm going to end up hitting 100 here. There's 102. I'll zoom in here and get it to 100. There we go. So we've got 100 miles, 50 miles, 25. So it looks pretty good. So we have a title, a north arrow, a scale bar, and now we need a legend. So we'll zoom back out. And this is where I want to do a little bit of work over here in my. You see, as I add these elements, they get added over here into my layout. But underneath my maps, I want to change these. The way these look here is how they're going to look in the legend. So this one right here, instead of FS ownership, I can change that to like US Forest Service ownership. Let's do it. Actually, our legend is going to be based off of map 1. Yes. So instead of changing this one here, we're going to change this one down here. It's going to be under map here. So let's change it down here and change it here to U.S. Forest Service. I can just actually say that. That represents public land. I can uncheck these two because they're not going to be on in that map. Project boundary. Change that. Take the underscore out because we don't have to follow that rule right now because we're just making a legend. And then this one here, I'm going to just slowly click and delete this, the header, because we don't need it in there. And then let's call this. This is a rule, is in legends, everything needs to be singular. So I'm going to call this USFS road. Singular, because that's the symbol for one road, not for multiple roads. So if you had a blue lake symbol, you need to say lake next to it, not lakes. That's a cartographic rule that we need to follow. So once I have those set to the way I want them to look underneath map here, I can then insert my legend. And so I go back, not in the layout tab, but I'm going to be in the insert tab. Legend. Then I just draw a box up here. There we go. So same thing, you know, you've got your context for your legends. You know, it automatically popped up here. You can change how everything appears in it, the different number of columns you want. You can change the colors, the border, let's see, the background. I actually think my background, instead of being clear, I'm going to change it to a very, very light. Probably a very, very light brown. If I can get something like that. Something, even this area right here. It's a little dark. Let's try it again here. I can click color properties and get even a lighter brown here. Somewhere over in this area. Still too dark. So we'll go, but I'm not going to waste a bunch of time doing that and having you guys watch me do that. So I'll change it just to a very, very light, like peach color here. Well, that's not really peach color, but you get the idea. Okay, so that's looking pretty nice. You can make this look however you want. You just try to make it look as good as you can. Okay, so now we've got title, north arrow, scale bar, legend. There's 3 other things we need that we can do in one text box. The first thing I want to find out is what the spatial reference is, because those 3 things are my name, the created by section, the date, and the spatial reference. So in the next lecture, you're going to learn what a spatial reference is. But for now, we just have to figure out how to determine how to find it. So to find it, we simply right-click on where it says map. We can right-click on map. We can go to properties and go to coordinate system. And this is it right here, GCS North American 1983. GCS North American 1983. I wonder if it'll let me copy that text. Not looking like it. So I'm just going to remember that GCS North American 1983. And that's telling me what the map spatial reference is in, what that data frame where it says map there, what that's in. So I have to put that on my map here. And so to do that, I can then insert, I don't need this inside a rectangle now, I can just insert plain text. Go down here. That's a lot larger text than I was expecting, but that's okay. Created by Ethan Howard. And then let's go to the text format up here. And we're going to drop the size of that back down. I don't know if yours did that or not, but I'm going to drop mine back down to 12. And I think I'm going to have to select it. Down to 12. Didn't like that, so let's see here. So I'm going to insert the text here. Plain text. Insert it down here. And let's go with, we can change the size here, the format. before I type anything, I want to change it back down to 12. Here we go. And we can then type down here. And we can go created by Ethan Howard. Now you don't type Ethan Howard, obviously. Do the date, November 5, 2022. And this is where we type that spatial reference, GCS. (1983). Now, if yours was something different, type it in there. It's very possible that you could have had a different spatial reference. And then, ooh, do not want to do that. Stretch it out. You know, make the size look how we want it. Put this in the bottom corner. Then we can save our map. Check for our elements here. We have 2 map frames. We have a title, a legend, a north arrow scale bar, created by the date and the spatial reference of the map. You know, you could add all kinds of text in here and add better context for what the map's about. If I'm standing and looking at your map, I should be able to tell what the map is talking about within a matter of like 10 to 15 seconds. So when we judge the map competitions in GIS 316, that's one thing I always look at is, can I tell what this map is actually about? Or does it have a bunch of conflicting data on it that actually draws the attention away from the purpose of the map? So something to always look at. If we were going to make this professionally, we would obviously use annotation. We would make our project boundary probably not quite so 1980s pink. But we're just practicing here, getting used to the software. And we're just, you know, practice makes perfect. And so we're trying for perfection. So take a screenshot of your map and send it to me. That's how you get your points for Lab 5. It shouldn't look exactly like mine. I want you guys to have some artistic creativity in your maps. But it should have all 7 of those map elements on it. And then also remember your cartographic rule that your legend, the items in the legend, need to be singular. Okay? And I would probably change these to make them make more sense if I had more time. Maybe say road, high clearance, vehicles, road, suitable for passenger cars. Okay? It's not intuitive if those are roads. Okay, I hope that helps you guys. And if you have any questions, just shoot me a text or email me. And you're going to be getting a project next week that'll have a longer extended due date. And it kind of takes everything that we've learned about GIS and incorporates it into one project that you guys will work on. So, all right, I'll talk to you guys later. Laters on the Menjay.
Latest on the Menjay.